All right. Well, very exciting week 15. I had a number of pick'ems, some of them that went right, some of them that went wrong. The first one that I knew was going to happen, though, was the Ravens defeating the Jets. They blow them out of the water 42-21. Kia, what do you think about this amazing showing once again from the number one seed in the AFC?
Honestly, Lamar Jackson kind of blew me away a little bit, even more. He had 86 yards rushing, typical, but he had 5 touchdown passes, and some of those touchdown passes were pretty on point. And I'm like, oh no, he's just getting more and more accurate, and so really great performance, honestly, by Lamar Jackson. They're playing sound football, balanced football. Defense is stepping it up. I mean, there was not much to be afraid of with Jets. I wasn't really too, it was a blowout from the beginning, so Jets really didn't have a chance at all.
Nah, not at all. And if you look at their starting lineup, they were missing like half the defensive players. Jamal Adams didn't play. Quentin Williams didn't play. And as you said, multiple linebackers missing. They were just decimated on defense. They gave it a little bit of a shot there in the first half. Had they been able to knock down a field goal early in that first half, they maybe would have been able to keep it close and keep it interesting because Jamison Crowder was really eating them alive. That's the one thing that Baltimore is struggling with on defense. They don't have good team speed. They have big physical guys. If they're able to get on you, then they can really tee off on the pass rush. Where they really miss is they don't have anyone that really scares you with their speed, especially off the edge. And Matthew Judon's just about it. But other than that, Lamar Jackson's the MVP. He's just they're not just winning in this league; they're blowing teams out, and that's not normal.
Right.
Yeah. Next game was Patriots Bengals. Patriots end up beating up on the Bengals. The Bengals suck, and I hope they continue to suck for the next few years. The Buccaneers end up beating down the Lions. The Lions actually put up a bit of a fight there. The Buccaneers come back. It's something like the fourth quarter. They dropped a ton of points on them. The Lions just need to put everyone out of their misery and fire all their coaches, but they're not going to do that because they're the Lions. Next game though was the Houston Texans beating the Tennessee Titans 24-21. Ooh.
I'm really confused with the Houston Texans. I don't know who they are, what team they want to be. Are they good? Are they bad? Like, they're not really consistent. Deshaun Watson still at, two touchdowns, 2 picks. They were winning for most of the game. I mean, they were blowing them out. I mean, I was like, oh dang. And then, and Tennessee almost came back at the end. Tannehill, comeback player of the year for me. That guy's just been phenomenal. He's just what Tennessee needs. Someone consistent. He's staying healthy. I always thought he was a good player, but he just wasn't healthy. It was just amazing. I actually bet on Tennessee in this game because I thought they were actually going to blow them out, but the opposite happened.
Yeah, I had Houston winning this one. I thought it was going to be a high scoring game. I had Houston winning 39-36, but hey, at least I got the spread right. Yeah, division games like this, they're always really weird, always really close. Houston towards the end, they really tried. They tried to blow the game. They tried to screw it up. Have the Titans come back the way they did against the Chiefs. Deshaun
Right.
Watson throws the ball out of bounds when they're up 7 and ends up stopping the clock. Tennessee gets the ball back with good field position with a chance to tie up the game or take the lead. So it was stuff like that leads me to believe that this team, even when they go, this Houston Texans team, even when they go to the playoffs, they might be a quick exit because Bill O'Brien is schizophrenic, his team is schizophrenic, and they are very actively trying to ruin this rookie contract that they have with Deshaun Watson. They have not built this team, in my opinion, the proper way needed to take advantage of a quarterback that's on a rookie contract, a quarterback that's so great that's on a rookie contract. And they really needed to do that to really help out Bill O'Brien's chance of sticking around with his job. Chiefs don't have that problem though, thank God. All right,
Yeah.
the next game was Eli Manning and the New York Giants end up defeating the Dolphins 36-20. I'm glad he gets to ride off to the sun with a good one. The Eagles barely got by the Washington Redskins. It was 37-27 as the final score. That game was a lot closer than what the score indicates. It got really chippy there towards the end. The Seahawks barely beat the Panthers 30-24. Did you get a chance to see that one? What happened?
Whoa. I was able to see a little bit of it. Um, were the Seahawks? I mean, yeah, I was actually thinking, I was like, oh, whoa, like Carolina might win this one. Like,
Yeah.
here's one of those. I was like, okay, towards the end, we get like one of those upsets. just like the Atlanta over the Niners. Like I'm like, oh, here we go. This is going to be an upset. Panthers are going to win, but um, I don't know. I don't know with these teams sometimes, but you know what, Russell Wilson. You know, you can always kind of count on him to kind of keep that game winning. Um, you know, Panthers. I don't know where they are with their QB situation. Allen throwing 3 picks. But honestly, McCaffrey. If the Panthers were winning, he would be my MVP of the year. Like that guy is doing it all, receiving and rushing the ball. He's their only weapon, and I'm surprised. And he's so good that he's their only weapon, and Seahawks couldn't stop him.
Yeah, I like the Panthers on off. They have actually some good pieces. I like DJ Moore, and I liked him as a first round pick out of Maryland. Curtis Samuel is actually pretty good. I like him too. Greg Olson's been beat up, so they don't really have anyone in the middle of the field that can draw that type of attention. A tight end that can actually function along with Christian McCaffrey. So I think they have the requisite pieces to beat good teams. It's just that right now that coaching change is really difficult on them. I think they've really at a point where they're trying to figure out who's going to stick around on this team. So guys are auditioning for them, which they should. I mean, they should really start considering who's going to be the future of this team, especially at the quarterback position, because it looks like they're going to go with Will Greer here for the next few weeks and see what he has in the tank. I'm happy for him. The Seahawks, they should have blown Carolina out. This is a little concerning to me because they are playing and winning a lot of close games. You go into Carolina, you beat a team that got blown out by the Falcons by 20 points. You only win by 6. You give up 14
Right.
points in the last quarter to make it interesting. That's not the fabric of a number one overall seed or a number one seed in the NFC. So they got to get that cleaned up. All right, next on the schedule, outside of the Seahawks and the Texans, the Packers end up beating the Bears 21-13. Mitchell Trubisky, who we will see on Sunday night, truly looked miserable again. This guy's career is going to come to an end more sooner rather than later. The Minnesota Vikings travel to Los Angeles and turn that soccer stadium into Minneapolis Southwest, blow them all the way out of the water. Philip Rivers' time. The last few games here of his career is what it's looking like in Los Angeles, San Diego, or whatever you want to call it, and it's miserable. I actually kind of, you know what? I feel bad for him.
Yeah. You know what? Philip Rivers deserved a lot more. He deserved a Super Bowl championship. That guy was a warrior, a fighter. As much as I hated him whining and complaining all the time, he just was passionate about the game, and he had the stats to prove it. He was very resilient when they were losing. They always found a way to come back, and he just his team never stayed healthy. Ever since the Marty days, like it was just inconsistent. The coaching wasn't really great. Players were getting hurt. On both sides of the ball. Like I really do feel for him. And I wish him nothing but the best after football.
Yeah, me too. He's always been a heck of a competitor. I mean, we can talk about what we did and did not like about Philip Rivers. He showed up I don't think he's missed a start in the regular season since he took over for Drew Brees. So it's amazing to see this longevity. It's tough because when the game passes you by, when it's over, it shows you that it's over. And my hope is that Philip recognizes it and says, I'm going to walk away instead of them having to do the inevitable, which is releasing him, which they will do by next year. By this time next year, someone else will be starting for the Los Angeles Chargers. End of an era in Southern California. Next game, 38-24, the Cardinals over the Browns. You just can't trust the Browns whatsoever. People are ready to abandon ship. Odell talking about, come get me to the sideline of the Arizona Cardinals. Juice Landry saying the same thing. That's as dysfunctional a team as I've ever seen before. And we called it, we knew. As soon as the going got rough, for specifically those two, they would want to jump ship.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just incredible. You have all this. This kind of shows just because you have all this talent on a team doesn't mean that you're gonna do well and then outplay and go to the Super Bowl right away. And on top of that, we have Baker Mayfield playing. He's like bottom 5 of the QBs, and so he's not having the best game. I mean, yeah, and you can fault the O line too, and not great O line play, but it's just kind of sad, to see like leaders, the players who are supposed to be leaders, basically be like, "I'm done. I can't wait to play on another team." And It's just unfortunate, but it all at the end of the game, at the end of the day, it starts from their coach. If you have no respect and if you're not holding people accountable and if you're not modeling good behavior, it's gonna go downhill from there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I feel for John Dorsey. John Dorsey has put a talented roster together, has some holes, no doubt, but they're not this bad. They're not supposed to be this bad. I'll say to this day, anytime that you're trying to rebuild an organization, the most important hire is the head coach. You have to get the head coach right. They got the GM right in Cleveland. They didn't get the head coach right, and look what happened. That's unfortunate. The Cowboys at home, they really needed this one. Their season on the line. It was on the brink, and they stomped the Los Angeles Rams 44-21. Los Angeles didn't stand a chance in that game. The 49ers take a surprise loss to the Atlanta Falcons. They lose 29-22. I didn't see that one coming. Let's see what I had San Francisco winning 27-18. You know what? There's a lot of crossover there is what I heard. There's a lot of the coaches for the Falcons have coached with Kyle Shanahan when he was the OC out in Atlanta. Dan Quinn, when they went to that Super Bowl, it was Kyle Shanahan who was their offensive coordinator. And it was Raheem Morris who was on that staff as well, who's now the defensive coordinator, one of the defensive guys for Atlanta. And guess what happened? They shut him down for 22 points.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of amazed. I was just like, whoa, what's going on with the Niners and what's going on with their defense too? Like, I mean, this is like, the last couple of games are giving up a lot of points. Are people catching on? But, this is an important game, that people are looking at the Niners and they're seeing what the Falcons did, who, they made some surprise. They beat the Saints and, they beat the Niners. They had some surprise wins. So they're a good team, but like there's teams that are better talent-wise and coaching-wise as well. And this is a game that you should be looking at if you're playing the Niners in the playoffs. Because I don't know. I think they're really good, but I can see them losing, right away in the playoffs because of this loss.
It's very shaky. We've seen this Niners team. This is a tremendous season that they're having, but they went losing season to all of a sudden towards the top of the league. And you got to wonder, are they all the way there yet? They still have some names. I'm just kind of like, who? Who are these? Who are some of these guys? But they've been able to coach them up and play them up well. And they come out in front of their home crowd this late in the season, and they lay a stinker. Like Julio Jones eats them up. Julio Jones turned the clock back on him. You're right, Kia. I'm worried for them once they get into the playoffs. If teams are able to stop their outside run, if they're able to stop the explosive plays and not be fooled by Kyle Shanahan's play calling, what are they going to do? Is Jimmy Garoppolo enough? He wasn't enough in this game. So, yeah, same amount of concern that the Buffalo Bills end up going to Pittsburgh. They beat out the Fighting Duck Hodges out there in Pittsburgh 17-10. That was a game that I think anyone could have called. I had Buffalo winning 24-20. So Pittsburgh might have to change the quarterback. The Saints end up blowing out the Colts 34-7. I really feel bad for Colts fans. They should not be going through a season like this. They were supposed to have Andrew Luck and be contending for a playoff spot. Last game we'll talk about. You know what? I kind of feel bad for this team too. I don't want to feel bad for them, but I kind of do because I feel for the fans. The Oakland Raiders, in their last game in Oakland, lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-16. My goodness.
I mean, you had the lead going into the fourth quarter. Your fans were hyped. Everything was going well, and yeah, it's not acceptable. As a coach, you put this team together. You have all these draft picks, and you have talent on both sides of the ball. You can make things happen. And Jaguars are not doing well. They're not a good team this year. And to lose at home on your last game in Oakland, what does that say about you as just a team, as a coach? Like I don't know. Like how can you carry that confidence into Vegas? Like Raider fans who are going to still be Raider fans when they move to Vegas should be really, really concerned because this should have been a win. What will it take? What will it take for this Raiders team to win? And if you can't do it for these home fans who are known throughout the whole league, maybe not for the best things, but they're passionate. And if you can't do it for them for their last game in Oakland, then what else can you really do? I
Man,
don't
this
know.
whole experiment here is just odd, man. You get Gruden. Gruden has a Super Bowl championship. I'm not going to try to knock his pedigree as a coach, but you're starting to see like what the putting the reins on a quarterback in his play, putting him in shackles, putting him in those handcuffs, what it does to a quarterback. I still contend to this day, Derek Carr's a better quarterback than Alex Smith ever was. If the Chiefs had Derek Carr in 2016, dude, we go to the AFC Championship game, okay? Like we could have cultivated this talent. I always think about that. I see him in games like this, and Raiders fans they boo him, they call him trash, they call him garbage, and I'm like, no, that's not. You're seeing the byproduct of this system that Gruden's put him in. It's rigid. He can't color outside the lines, and that's how you get a quarterback throwing the ball away on 4th and goal at the 6 yard line when you're down 20 yards, when you're down 20 points. It's because he can't think outside of the lines to be able to make those types of plays anymore. It's been coached out of him. It's unfortunate. The Raiders fans deserve better than this. The Jacksonville Jaguars were a miserable team, an absolutely miserable team who had gotten smacked 5 games in a row, getting blown out by at least 30 points in all of them. And then you come home, and it was a listless second half performance, which again to me is on the coaching. Mike Mayock, you're gonna have to figure this out, man. This part of this is on you too. You're, he knows football. He's a TV guy. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
he's a TV guy. He has no experience in any front office for anyone at any point in his life, and he got the GM spot for the Oakland Raiders. They better get this thing figured out by the time they go to Vegas, or else you'll have a very beautiful $500 million parking lot sitting right there in the middle of Paradise, Nevada for the next 10 years. All right, man. Well, Kia, thank you for doing around the league for me on this one. Everyone, thanks for watching. We're Chiefs Out West.
Woo.